The future of the Scream franchise has been the topic of much debate over the past several months. There were questions as to whether or not this franchise would continue after the sudden departures of the new leads, Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. Well, today we have further confirmation that the franchise will in fact continue, and some familiar faces will be returning. And the reaction to this news from so-called fans is very telling. And it pretty much confirms everything I've said about these people from the very beginning. They are not fans of the franchise. What they are, in fact, is Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega Simps in disguise. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So Neve Campbell has announced that she will in fact be returning as the greatest final girl of all time, Sidney Prescott, in the upcoming Scream 7. It is also being reported that one of the original creators of the franchise, Kevin Williamson, will direct the film. As far as the Kevin Williamson news goes, I have my reservations because I'm not sold on his abilities as a director. Considering he wrote the original Scream films, it's nice to have him back in the fold in a larger capacity. I would have preferred if he was actually writing the film, but that doesn't appear to be the case. On the flip side of that, when you consider who they could have got to direct Scream 7, I would rather have Kevin Williamson than most other people, because if nothing else, he will be able to restore the tone and feel of the franchise that was missing in the last two entries.
Don't f*** with the original.
As far as Neve Campbell returning goes, I'm on record as saying I don't necessarily think we need another Scream movie, but if there is one, Neve Campbell needs to be involved because Scream, after all, is Sidney Prescott's story. Period. From a behind-the-scenes perspective, of course I'm happy for Neve Campbell. She deserves this. You have to assume she's finally receiving the proper compensation to return, and that's a positive in my book. As far as where Sidney Prescott's story goes from here, that I have no idea. Bottom line to me, she is a fighter and she should always be portrayed as such. And this notion that she now deserves peace is a line of bullshit to me. It's bullshit being spread by the people who are trying to push her to the side.
It's true.
So I do think it will be interesting to see where Sidney's story goes from here. My only hope is that they can restore this franchise to its former glory and give her and the franchise a proper send-off that it deserves. Now, for reasons that I will never understand, this announcement has led to Neve Campbell being attacked on social media. Attacked by the same simps that I mentioned a few minutes ago. Imagine calling yourself a Scream fan, yet you're going online and berating and belittling the actress who made this franchise what it is. And you wonder why I'm calling into question certain people's fandom. You wonder why I say these aren't real Scream fans and nothing more than toxic trolls with no concept of reality.
Off is a direction you can
Has Neve Campbell ever received any backlash in her entire tenure as a part of this franchise? Nope, not until they tried to replace her with inferior characters. Again, I find it ironic that these so-called fans didn't keep the same boycotting energy when Neve Campbell was being mistreated by the studio. So what we have now are these same trolls saying things like this about Neve Campbell's return. I don't want this. Sell the rights and get Melissa Barrera back. If you need any more proof that social media makes people more and more toxic and delusional every day, then this is your proof. Spyglass was never going to sell the rights to Scream because why would they? What, just because people on social media said they should, that means it's going to happen? You people have a very high opinion of yourself if you think you have that kind of pull, because you don't. Especially with Neve Campbell now back in the fold, most old school fans are going to support this film, like it or not.
That makes sense.
But it got worse from there. This person said, Neve Campbell, so jobless, she had to go back to Scream. And Melissa Barrera, having 3 projects lined up. Yeah. First of all, to suggest that Neve Campbell is desperate for going back to Scream is a bit of a reach. If she was so desperate for work, then she would have never left the Scream franchise to begin with. She would have taken whatever they were giving her and never said a word. As far as this person making comparisons and trying to compare Melissa's upcoming slate, with all due respect, I seriously doubt that anything she is currently involved with will do as well financially or culturally as Scream did. Scream 5 and 6 did numbers because Scream was in the title. It had nothing to do with Melissa Barrera.
Tell me when I'm telling lies!
And then we have this person who said, quote, Neve Campbell, you should be ashamed of yourself. How desperate do you have to be to work with a company that not just refused to pay you fairly, but also supports a genocide and fired Melissa Barrera, the lead, for denouncing it? Anyways, we're boycotting the out of this. I feel I should reiterate that I don't have any issue with Melissa Barrera voicing her opinion. What I do have a problem with is people suggesting that everyone has to share that opinion and back her. Why exactly is Neve Campbell obligated to co-sign what Melissa Barrera said? Why exactly is Neve Campbell supposed to put her career on hold to support Melissa Barrera? Did Melissa Barrera turn down Scream 6 when Neve Campbell was mistreated? I understand that they are completely different circumstances, but we have to stop acting like one person is responsible for the actions of another person. And as far as Neve Campbell working for the company that screwed her over, I'd say she has no reason to be ashamed because clearly the studio realized how important she was and gave her what she was entitled to. She won. She literally beat the studio system. There is nothing to be ashamed of. There's some projecting and deflecting going on here, the likes of which I have never seen before. And good luck with the boycott. I assure you that most people do not give a
I don't care!
And the last comment I wanted to point out was this one. Quote, this almost feels like a scab crossing a picket line. Doesn't feel right that this movie is going ahead after how terribly Melissa Barrera was treated. It feels so irrevocably tainted. I think I speak for a lot of Scream fans when I say we really don't give a shit what it feels like to you. To call Neve Campbell a scab because she finally got what she deserved is one of the most disrespectful things I've ever heard. A scab, to me, is someone who goes on social media and exhibits selective outrage. A scab is someone, to me, who insults a strong, powerful woman because her decisions do not line up with your way of thinking. Did you call Melissa Barrera a scab when she unjustifiably took Neve's place after she was mistreated? I think these people desperately need to go outside and reassess their lives. You would think that Spyglass fired them by the way most of them are talking right now. And again, do I agree with Melissa Barrera getting fired for this? No, I do not. And that's coming from someone who could care less about her involvement with this franchise. But I ask the question again, what do Melissa Barrera's choices have to do with Neve Campbell?
Not a damn thing!
Neve Campbell doesn't owe anybody anything. If anything, these people who are talking owe her an apology. Because I hate to break it to all of you, but if not for Neve Campbell, there might not have been a Scream franchise for Melissa to be in the first place. So maybe you should think about that and start showing Neve Campbell a little bit more respect. Instead of embracing your natural instincts to be spineless, disrespectful trolls who have a very narrow-minded way of looking at things. You shut up, man baby. You old-ass geriatric fans just don't have common sense. Just like that lame-ass, washed-up Neve Campbell. All of y'all. Scream is forever ruined. Ah!
Y'all be cool. Right on.